Well, good afternoon and welcome into Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you, of course, by Bally Bet, a sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns, now live in Ohio. Nathan Segura with you here today. Solo, no Bo Bishop down at the Memorial Tournament down at Muirfield. We'll get you a check-in on what's going on there, and Gibbe gallivanting around as he is wont to do. So here we are, June 6, 2024, the final voluntary off-season team activity of the year for the Cleveland Browns concluded earlier today, and that means next week, mandatory minicamp. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The players will report on Monday, go through their physicals, and then we'll have that mandatory minicamp. So that'll be really kind of one of the first looks, if not the first look, at the full complement of your 2024 Cleveland Browns as they get ready for that mandatory minicamp. And all eyes obviously will be on quarterback Deshaun Watson and whether or not he is able to advance to maybe throwing in some 7-on-7s during that minicamp. So something certainly we will keep an eye on there. Our hot topics of the day presented by University Hospitals. There are a couple of them. And the first one, I'm going to ask the youngsters. It's me, Brock, and Jordan today. We're rolling it. We're rocking and rolling. Everybody's good. Can you get your mic on? You ready?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, I'm on.
I have big personal news to share. You guys follow me on the socials, on the Twitter? Have you seen on Twitter my big news?
I have not
No,
checked.
Brock, hurtful, sad. That's okay. That's all right. It happened last night, so I would imagine I could understand that you may have missed it. But it is official at the upcoming show, AIW Shook Ones, the Tadmore Shrine, June 22nd, a Saturday. There's Connor. That's right. I am calling out members only for their heinous attack on me that left me with bruised ribs. I'm not having it. We're going to have a little bit of a talk, and that's going to come your way. Tickets available, obviously, at AIWwrestling.com or AIwrestling.com. Listen, I had some fun getting in the ring. It was awesome. It was a thrill. I think things just got a little out of hand. We're going to talk about it, and I think I have some surprises planned for members only. So Calvin G. Lewis, Malcolm Cambridge, get ready. You've been warned. So that's what I got going on. So that's my exciting news. There's other exciting news around the sporting world as well. Starts with the NBA Finals happening tonight. Game 1, 8:30 in Boston. And I don't know if you guys saw, did you see the Celtics video? Anybody in there seen the Celtics video?
What was that, Z?
Have you seen the Celtics hype video for this series? Nobody seen it?
I saw the Mavs.
Okay.
I saw Patrick Mahomes was announcing the Mavs video.
So Patrick Mahomes narrated the Mavericks video. That's interesting because you want to take a guess as to who narrated the Celtics video?
Tom Brady.
Connor with a K. They don't call him Special K for nothing. Yeah, Tom Brady narrates, and he's like, oh, you want Boston? They played a bunch of chants of, we want Boston, we want Boston. Like, you want Boston? Really? Like, a lot of people wanted Boston when I was there, and all we did was hold up the Lombardi trophy. So I like this series. Porzingis being back to me is the biggest factor in this series. Without Porzingis, I really think that the Mavericks could win this series. They still can win this series. But I think Porzingis being back makes the Celtics the favorite in this series. But I love the way the Mavericks are playing right now. Luka Doncic is an absolute assassin. Kyrie is playing great. So all of that, I'm pretty excited about all of that. This is going to be a good series. It's going to be can Tatum step up and have that series, win the title, and kind of cement himself as that true top-tier superstar in the NBA. That really feels like the stakes to me. Jaylen Brown, same thing, the two of them. Can they kind of cement themselves? Tatum is the one who gets a little bit, I'd say he's the 1, Brown the 1A. Can they do that? It's going to be a fun series. I feel like we've waited a year for this series to get going. I mean, it's been forever since we've had some basketball, but we will get some basketball, and that certainly is going to be a lot of fun. Speaking of the NBA, wasn't it reported J.J. Redick was like going to be the coach of the Lakers? That's what everybody's saying. He was going to be J.J. Redick. Well, how about it? Not so fast. Turns out the Lakers are targeting Dan Hurley, the head coach of UConn, to become their next coach. UConn, of course, the #1 dynasty in men's college basketball, and quite frankly, they were for a long time in women's college basketball as well. There are talks about a massive long-term contract they're expected to pick up in the next couple of days. He actually went and told his team. He said, yes, this is true. I am talking with the Lakers. Nothing is imminent. Nothing is done yet. So it's business as usual for us at UConn. But what's this mean for the current state of college athletics? this is what I think's happening. It used to be that coaches would come to the NFL, college coaches would come to the NFL. Take Nick Saban, for example. Come to the NFL, and they're like, I don't have the control over these millionaires that I had over kids in college. They're going to kind of do what they want in some cases. They make it very difficult for me to be able to get them to buy into my program. I don't like it. I want to go back to college, set up my program, and then the kids are kind of at your mercy, because in the old days, it used to be if they wanted to transfer, they'd have to sit out a year. Well, now with NIL, with the transfer portal, you have to not only recruit a kid once to get them to come to school, you have to recruit them every single year. So you are constantly not even trying to bring in you're both trying to bring in new players in recruiting and then maintain your own. You have absolutely no control. Now the freedom of movement in college athletics and the NIL money has made it so that coaches have no real say over their programs. It becomes a very difficult situation. It's why I think Nick Saban and some of the older guys are going to retire rather than keep doing this, and why you're going to see coaches now. Dan Hurley has a better shot at controlling the Lakers than he does right now controlling the UConn Huskies, because they'll just leave. Oh, we'll go to Duke. We'll go to Kentucky. Whatever it is. At least in the NBA, when you're under contract, you're under contract. So I think that is a sign of a massive paradigm shift in the power dynamic between coaches and players in the NBA or in the NFL relative to college, where it's, as we always say from Top Gun, it is now inverted. It used to be that you ran your program. The coach was the program. And now the players and NIL and all that, those are the things that kind of run the program more so than the coaches. And so you're seeing established coaches move on, and I think you're going to see young up-and-comers. Instead of saying, yeah, I'll stay at UConn forever, they're going to go and try their hand in the NBA, or in many cases, I think you'll see college football coaches want to get into the NFL. And that's really, it feels like that's a big change in terms of what's happened. I mean, look at the Browns tight end coach, for example. Tommy Rees was the offensive coordinator at Alabama last year. And he took a job to come be the tight end coach with the Cleveland Browns to get into the NFL, because I think ultimately one day he's a guy that wants to be a coordinator in the National Football League, maybe a head coach in the National Football League. It would have been, I was the OC at Alabama, I'm going to stay here, and maybe I'll go be the head coach at Alabama. I don't know if the stressors of that job are so significant and robust that I'm not sure that's what these guys want to do anymore. And so I think that's really the big takeaway there in terms of with, Dan Hurley talking about leaving UConn, where he's built an absolute dynasty. I think they've won 6 titles, to go and to go try his hand in the NBA. Speaking of college, the college football playoff schedule for next season has been released. The first round of college football playoff games do conflict with the Saturday NFL games on December the 21st. So those are the games we know. That's the Steelers, Ravens, Texans, and Chiefs, maybe? Is that right? All right. So those are all big games. Those are all big teams. You're going to get, the way it's going to lay out, first round playoff game Friday, December the 20th, and then 3 on Saturday, noon, 4, and 8. So 2 of those will at least go head-to-head with the NFL. 2 of them are going to go head-to-head with the NFL. Then you move into the quarterfinals 10 days later, Tuesday, December the 31st, the Verbo Fiesta Bowl. Wednesday, January 1st, the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Wednesday, January 1st, the All-State Sugar Bowl. And Wednesday, January 1st, the Rose Bowl. And so you're going to get games on that Wednesday. New Year's Eve, you're going to get a 7:30 at night, and then you're going to get playoff games on New Year's Day. You are going to get 1, 5, and 8:45 all unopposed. Obviously, no NFL games in any of those windows. Playoff semifinals Thursday, January the 9th, the Capital One Orange Bowl, 7:30 p.m., and then Friday, January the 10th, the Goodyear Cotton Bowl at 7:30. My guess is our Thursday night's done by then in the NFL. That'd be my guess. So that's unopposed. And then the National Championship, Monday, January the 20th in Atlanta. I love this. That is, you went from having 3 games in the college football playoff to now having 11 games in the college football playoff. 11 games. And you talk about a lineup that's headed your way into Christmas. The 20th, the 21st, the 22nd is going to belong to the NFL. I'd have to look see if there's a Monday night game on the 23rd, and then there will be those Thursday games on Christmas. So you're talking about, you're a football fan, you want football of consequence, you are going to get it, because the games on Saturday, December 21st are both not only huge. Look at Senior Swag today. I mean, the window panes, what is it? Just a Thursday? Maroon. You're going to get 3 playoff games on Saturday and then 2 what are probably NFL-level playoff games as well. That's going to be awesome. So you can tell, let the family know. Let it be known now. Hey, we got this news. Guess what's going on? We're going to go ahead and there's going to be a lot of football watched. All right, I want to go in here. So you guys, give me your 2 seconds of attention. I want all 3 of you. Who's winning your NBA Finals winner picks and game? I'm gonna write and I'll make a note of it.
I got Mavs in 6.
Mavs, okay. Brock. Do people ever say your name like that? Any of your friends wrestling fans?
No, yeah, you're the first.
Do you know who Brock Lesnar is?
Of course I do.
Okay. Do you know who Paul Heyman is?
I do not.
He is the advocate for Brock Lesnar, and who to introduce him as like the reigning, undefeated, undisputed champion, Brock Lesnar.
Isn't he the creator of ECW?
Connor, when I think I couldn't love you more, you do something like this.
That's how I got started.
And I do love you more.
On WWE. You know,
was ECW? Because ECW was amazing.
I was a young lad in Montana at my uncle's house.
Oh, baby.
And just randomly sitting on the couch, he turned on ECW, and then, I fell in love. The rest was history.
Who was your favorite guy back then?
Ooh. Rob Van Dam. Okay. Just look
no
down
doubt.
for a second, pondering,
Of
and
course.
then I just see you.
Of course. Rob Van Dam. One of a kind.
RVD. But I got Mavs in 7. I think it's going to be a great series.
Mavs in 7. All right, who's Jordan got?
I'm going wild card. I'm going Boston.
That's not wild. They're the favorites.
Yeah, I'm going Boston in 7 only because when Jalen and when Jalen and Jason go
Get it
shot
going.
for shot.
Yep.
Yeah, you can't count those 2 out.
No, you can't. I mean,
Kyrie and our boy Luka are never on the same page as far as them going shot for shot.
they're on the same page right now.
Sure, sometimes, but not all the time.
Listen, I'm going to say Boston in 7 as well. I want it to be the Mavs.
Yeah.
And I really just want a Game 7 in Boston. If this series gets me 7 games in Boston, I would love it. Brock's saying no, it's going to end in Dallas.
I'd watch out for those X factors in Dallas. Those other guys, PJ Washington, Gafford, Lively. Let's see what those guys do, because they'll be a difference maker.
Let me tell you something. I love the Mavericks. I agree. I think they play a beautiful brand of basketball. The other thing in this game is who's going to guard Luka. And that's going to be a tough matchup for him. I don't think they want Jaylen Brown running around with Luka the entire game. They're not putting Tatum on him for sure.
Probably
So,
Derek
White.
Yeah.
That's got to be an advantage for the Mavericks. That's got to be a big advantage for the Mavericks. All right, so we're split 2-2. Just give me a Game 7. There's nothing like Game 7 in Boston. That'll be electric. By the way, I love that you love ECW. If you loved ECW, by the way, I'm going to send you, now that Connor has informed me that we're taking the technology of this show to the next level.
No, yeah. Only on YouTube. If you're watching
on YouTube.
YouTube.
What about the live stream? If you're watching on the app, right? Isn't it feed the same way?
Exactly. On the Browns mobile app as well.
Yeah.
But the goal of it is to, potentially show press conferences live. If you're tuning into the stream, you're going to be able to see those live instead of just a Cleveland Browns daily graphic, and those types of things. We're going to have some fun with it. We got to wait for the thumbs up from Gibbe. That's a must. So
I want to send you. I'm going to send you right now. I'm going to send you something that I want. So
all right.
You love ECW. AIW is very ECW-like.
I would agree. I've been to a show, so
I hope you'll come to. I hope to see you June 22nd.
June
to have more
22nd.
shine.
I'll put it on the calendar. June 22nd. Actually, I'll be in a volleyball tournament. I'm so sorry, Z. I will not be
At
in
night.
No, so I will be in Sandusky. All
right, fair enough.
I'm not from Cleveland originally. I forgot what the
Yeah,
area.
no, you got it. Sandusky, where Cedar Point is.
Yeah, Cedar Point, but it's where is that one?
There's a
popular
huge
spot?
sports complex there.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Sandusky.
Regardless, not the city. It's like the Kelly's Island.
Kelly's Island,
right over
okay.
there. Well, that's where I'll be.
So
I
they're
won't
taking
be
a
in
jet
town.
boat out there.
I'm not sure. This is gonna be my first time going. So
What's your where do you thrive? Front row, back row? Are you a setter? Are you a hitter?
I'm a hitter. I'm a outside hitter.
An outside
That's
hitter.
my
So you got a nice
spot.
vertical.
I don't know. I just got the length and I can just power the ball down. You know, I have a slight vertical, but I wouldn't say it's too good.
Okay, all right. I like to see it. Well, put July 13th on your calendar. I don't know if I'm doing anything July 13th other than commentating, but that's Absolution. That's like their WrestleMania.
Okay. Absolution. The 13th.
That's going to be a big show. That's a Saturday as well.
That's a Saturday. That's after the July 4th week, right?
Well, July 13th does come after July 4th.
Well, yeah,
yes,
obviously.
you've got that.
But,
you've got that.
but I'm
correct.
going to Minnesota. I'm going back home. So that's what I'm saying. Like that week that we'll be out of here.
No, it's the following weekend.
Okay.
Yeah, you have a whole week to come back, I
see.
would guess.
All right.
And then
Get myself prepared.
Yeah.
You
Bring
know.
the lady. She'll love it.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go.
All right.
It'll be a real treat. So I sent you a graphic. I don't know if you can pop that graphic in there next time I bring up how I'm going to call out these jabronis members only, but that'd be a real treat if we could pop this. Is my first ever graphic. I'm pretty excited about it. At least my first ever wrestling graphic.
Just give us a few minutes, Nathan.
Yeah, we got plenty of time. We got, guess what? By my calculations, we got an hour and 43 minutes to go on a beautiful Thursday here in Cleveland. I hope everybody is able to get out and if you like to chase the small ball around, get on out and get after that small ball. Want to let you know, coming up on the show today, you're going to hear from Browns defensive line coach Jacques Césaire. The players love this guy. I mean, I've talked to Obo. He was Obo's coach in Houston when Obo had his best season that led to his big free agent contract here with the Cleveland Browns. Zadarius Smith has loved him. He's like, he sees everything. He sees things that people we don't see. We've got a lot of that. We're going to guess. We're going to go around the league and also do some guessing as to the last double-digit sack player on every team in the NFL. What's up? You want to come in? You want to sit here? You want to come in and be No? No? All right. We're trying to get a co-host in here. Allison said no. Not interested. Sad. Hurtful. So we're Jacques Césaire. We're going to go around the league. We've got every NFL team's last 10 plus, so double-digit sack player. That's going to be I don't know how I'm going to do. I think if I'll set the over-under for me on that one at I got to go over 20 to feel good about it. Over under is 20.
I'll take the over.
You'll take the over? Really? Brock, thank you for the confidence. Vote of confidence. I appreciate that. All right, we've got coming up in the second hour. Then after that, we will have Kelsey Russo, the Browns staff writer in studio, talking about OTAs, the contract extensions, previewing minicamp as well. And then we're going to do higher or lower, presented by Keep It Fun from the Ohio Lottery. Rank the teams from 1 to 8, most likely to go from worst to first in their division. I think this is actually a pretty easy exercise. And then we've got Joel Bitonio, the consummate professional, Joel Bitonio from the podium as well. So it's all coming your way. Final thoughts, wrap up, and then, there's always so much more to come. If you want to hit me up on Twitter at Nathan Zagura, we are going to go ahead and I'll go ahead and take a look at that. You guys want to get any questions? You can get some, ask me anything type stuff in here, and let's go. So we're off and running here. It's Cleveland Browns Daily. It's brought to you by Bally Bet. Before I do that, though, I want to remind you, Browns fans, to check out Vivid Seats for official fan experience packages to this season's games. Purchase Vivid Seats Terrace Experience seats and score club access, parking, and a pregame field pass all included. Visit vividseats.com to learn more. Browns defensive line coach Jacques Césaire next on Cleveland Browns Daily. All right, welcome back into Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet, a sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Time now to go to the podium, presented by Vivid Seats, official fan experience partner of the Cleveland Browns. And we're going to hear from Browns' new defensive line coach, Jacques Césaire.
Tell me about,
You're down.
you guys had a great defensive line last couple of years in Houston, but coming here, the opportunity to work with this group.
Yeah.
What was this? What was it specifically attracted you here?
Yeah, well, the very first thing was just the opportunity to work with Jim Schwartz, right? You're talking about a guy that has just a wealth of knowledge. He's been incredible at the attack front. He's won championships. He's produced $100 million defensive tackles, $100 million defensive ends. So just the opportunity just to work with a guy that understands the front, understands attacking, understands pressuring, okay, and just knows how to call it on game day. You have to get excited about that. Then you add in Myles Garrett, right, Defensive Player of the Year, Darius Smith, Shelby, Dalvin, Mo. Now we get to work with Mike Hall. It was kind of like a dream come true almost. So,
speaking of Mike Hall, what have you thought about him early on?
Mike's been great. He's been real serious and just all about ball. He's explosive. He knows how to rush already. We're tweaking some things right now with him, but he's physical. He's fast. I love the way he's cornering right now, and he's just scratching the surface of what he can do for us in this defense.
It's funny. I asked Deuce a similar question, and coaching style-wise, you guys both seem very detail-oriented when we see you out there with the position group drills.
Absolutely, yes.
How important is that to you as a coach, and especially this point in the spring?
Well, it's everything. You got some guys. Not everybody can be Myles Garrett, right? And so what separates everybody is details, your technique and details. And so the more that these guys can get down the details of their job, all right, and go out and execute it, the better off we'll be. So I really harp details, technique, fundamentals, and obviously effort. We got to be a high-effort team at all times.
Talk about that. How do you reinforce something when they're doing something well?
Yeah.
And when they're not doing something well, how do you make sure that balance of not being too hard on them, but also drilling it into them because it's early?
Well, first of all, I'm not the type of coach that cusses my guys out. I don't believe that. They're grown men that won a lot of games. My job is to make sure that they're doing things right, that they're building dependable habits, that they're working hard, that they're giving tremendous effort on every single play. Whether we're in Indy, okay, or team drill, nothing changes for us. We're still going to launch. We're still going to come off the ball. We're still going to attack people. We're going to use our hands. We're going to rush. We're going to be very detailed in all our games and our execution of our pressures. And ultimately, we're always, at the end of the day, going to try and practice winning.
Jacques, Jim talked extensively last week about the wild card loss and what happened in that game in Houston. And I know there was that game, and then there was a couple games in the regular season where the D-line didn't get a sack, and he wasn't afraid to kind of choose a unit out for that. Just getting that pressure, what do you think that you can bring? Obviously, so many guys are back, but just kind of maybe correcting some of those things that you got to see from the other side, I guess, helping.
Yeah, and like I said, from the start, we got a lot of guys with a lot of experience in rushing the passer, right? Got a guy with 60 sacks in his career. We got the Defensive Player of the Year. So we have guys that can rush the passer. My job is to make sure that they know the fine details of their pass rush plan, their pass rush games, all right, and they go out and execute at the end of the day, okay? Everybody in this defensive line can rush. All right, it's my job is to find the guys that can rush together, right? 4 guys equals 1, rushing together, attacking the pocket, assaulting the pocket, and we're just conversion on the pocket every single play. So once we establish that, then we talk about, if we're not rushing, we're stealing. Okay, plain and simple. If we're not rushing, we're stealing. We're stealing from our kids, our family, the fans, everybody, this organization. So I want guys that want to get after the quarterback. That's what we're trying to figure out right here, right now. Okay, I want guys that want to rush violently, come after their man, attack the pocket, assault the pocket, crush the pocket as much as they can. No finesse stuff. We want dogs that are just coming at the quarterback at all times. We want to suffocate the pocket. Okay.
Off of that, we talk so much when we talk about pass rush, we talk about the guys on the edge, but how big is that interior rush, and developing it? Because I know, you had that, and you had that a lot in Houston. Yeah. They had it last year here with Dalvin and such. How big? What does that do? Maybe different from that edge rush.
Yeah, it's the most important part of the rush is those 2 defense tackles. Okay, nothing can happen unless those 2 defense tackles are collapsing the depth of the pocket. And so we focus on those guys a lot on the different things that they have to do, the different techniques that they have to do in order to do that. Right, they have to be specific with their footwork, with their hands, and what they're doing with their hands, and then ultimately they have to be rushing together. Right, someone's going to get the center, someone's going to get the guard, but ultimately guys have to be rushing together. All right, so the defensive tackles, the quarterback standing right there. Yeah. You know, so we don't need to be running out or doing anything fancy. I want guys that are going forward at all times.
I know Jim last week talked about you and your path and coming here and mentioned like you were willing to go earlier in your coaching career and start from the bottom. Like how much has that informed who you are and just obviously your background as a player and everything?
Yeah, I mean, as a player, I was an undrafted free agent, right? And I had to start at the bottom and I had to learn the NFL game and learn how to practice and learn how to play in these games and playing tight games and then playing playoff games and championship games. All of that takes a level of experience, a level of training and straining and grit. And so I just try and bring that same, just that same style to my coaching. You know, I don't want anything handed to me for free. I don't want my guys to think that they need anything handed for free. Everything we do is predicated on hard work. That's it. I just want guys that are willing to work hard. I don't need any sidebars or anything like that. I just need guys that want to come in, listen, and work hard.
I was asking Deuce about, you know, in the offense, Kevin's talked a lot about collaboration and development of the offense, and he talked about that. But, you know, we talk about this system and it's Jim Schwartz's system. But I'm sure there's a lot more collaboration that goes into it that you can find fingerprints of yourself and Coach Tarver and whatnot. How does that collaboration work on the defensive side? How is that, especially when you have somebody that has sort of established himself as sort of his system?
Yeah, it all starts with the guy up top, right? Jim Schwartz, and you know he's a great teacher first and foremost. Great teacher, great leader of men, all right? And he wants to empower his coaches, and that's the most important thing. There's no egos on that coaching staff. All those coaches are really, all the defensive coaches are really, really good coaches, smart coaches. They bring a lot of juice, a lot of energy, a lot of knowledge of the game. And so all of us respect each other. We're all pushing each other because ultimately we all want the same thing. We want to win, okay? We want to win. We don't want to go home in January. Okay, we want to continue playing. And so in order to do that, everybody has to keep the ego at the door, all right, and come together as one. And everything has to be, you know, geared toward the team.
How much did you go ahead.
Okay, when you look at the guys you have, I mean, obviously Miles' sack numbers have been what they've been the last few years.
Absolutely.
I mean, do you feel like you have multiple guys that can push for 10-plus sacks?
Absolutely. You know, young Isaiah McGuire is one of those guys that he's been really coming on. Alex Wright had a nice season last year with 5 sacks. I think he can really push those numbers up to the double digits. You know, you're talking about youth that has a lot of length, power, speed in their game. Okay, they all know how to rush really well. They all know how to flip their hips and use their hands. So I'm excited about those two guys. You bring back Obo. You got new guys like Quentin Jefferson. Mo looks great out here right now. So I'm just excited with the progress that the guys have been making. You know, I know, you know, we're just starting off and we're just sitting here and we're playing in underwear. You know, but eventually we got to play in pads. And I think what we see out here is going to translate nice into pads.
How much of what you guys did in Houston, how much is there carryover? Is there similarities? Or is there DNA of what between the two systems, you know, the one you came from and the one that you're coming from?
Absolutely, yeah. So, you know, we like the, you know, when we were in Houston, we were like, you know, Schwartz's attacked little brother. You know, and so, you know, obviously it's Schwartz's system, and everybody takes a part of that, and they kind of add their own wrinkles to it. So it's the same system. All right, but I'm just coming in adding my little wrinkles to it. That's it, you know. And Schwartz, like I said, he empowers his coaches. He allows us to do our job. You know, he bounces ideas off of us. But ultimately, our job is to make sure that we're executing exactly what the defense coordinator wants.
I know we haven't seen Miles out here yet, obviously, but just like Defensive Player of the Year, coming off the numbers he's put up, like what more do you guys envision for him? I know that
a lot more, and Miles knows that, and Miles is the type of person that, you know, he wants to be great. You know, he wants to be great. He's not, you know, just resting on his laurels and what he did last year. He understands that. He's working. We've been in contact with each other, and I know that he's been working. He's working hard. I know he wants to come back. And obviously, when you lose in the playoffs, you know, you don't feel great about it. And so he has things that he needs to work on. Everybody's working on some things. So you're going to see a drastic improvement from everybody this year.
That's Jacques Césaire at the podium, and you got to like his energy. Guy who played in the league for a long, long time, teammate of my former co-host on this program, Matt Wilhelm, who had great things to say about him. He's going to bring an attitude, a know-how to that room that I think is going to be a lot of fun to see, and he's got unbelievable talent there. And how about this? Defensive end room. Who are your top 5 defensive ends from a year ago? Myles Garrett, Zadarius Smith, Obo Okoronkwo, Alex Wright, Isaiah McGuire. Same, running it back. Defensive tackles. Who are your top defensive tackles from last year? Dalvin, Shelby, Mo, Siaki Ika, Jordan Elliott, obviously. Well, the first 4 are all back. You've added another veteran in Quentin Jefferson, and you've added Mike Hall Jr. Continuity, talent, depth. That's what the defensive line room is all about. So it's going to be fun to see what Jacques Césaire can do with those guys. And I love how excited he was to come coach with Jim Schwartz. I thought that was awesome to hear. All right, when we come back, we're going to go around the league here. And not only that, I'm going to guess. We're going to see how many of every team in the NFL, who was their last double-digit sack getter for those teams. We're going to see if I can come up with that. I'm going to chat. We'll go 24. I got to get 24. I got to get 3 out of every 4.
If you're going 24, I'm going to take the under there.
So you think I'm coming in at like 22?
Yeah,
if you middle that, I'll be very impressed. All right, we'll see what happens. That's all coming your way next. Cleveland Browns Daily brought to you by Ballybet, a sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. You know it.
You're up.
All right, welcome back into Cleveland Browns Daily. Nathan Zagura here. Bo Bishop again down at the Memorial. Gibbe gallivanting around, enjoying a beautiful day somewhere. Is he Florida bound? Where is Gibbe?
Florida.
That's what I figured. Yeah, of course. Of course. Well, it means we'll maybe see him in 2 weeks. When his flight home gets canceled, we'll see him in 2 weeks. All right, we're going to go around the league right now. The Minnesota Vikings will wear all-white Winter Warrior uniforms in Week 15. Thoughts? They're spectacular. They're perfect. Connor, you a former Vikings fan, now obviously a Browns fan.
They're still.
They can be your NFC team. I still have the Niners. They're my NFC team.
Of course. I think they're far and away better than the Bengals. I think they are the cleanest. I'll say one of the cleanest white-on-white uniforms that are in the NFL. Or coming to.
They're spectacular. Now, I don't know if you remember, but when they had last year announced they were doing like a whiteout, this is what I wanted. This is what I thought it was going to be. And so when it wasn't, and it was still the purple helmet, and it was just kind of like the white jerseys, I was like, okay.
I think they're almost inspired, by the Bengals. How they had the black stripes and everything. It's with the Vikings white helmet still with the white horn on there, and it has kind of that outline. So you still get that horn look. But
I love them. They are spectacular. If I was designing them, I would make one tweak.
And what is that?
The numbers would have been white with a purple outline, so it would have been like full whited out. Mm-hmm. But you would still see the numbers because of the purple on the outline of it. But it would be like that kind of white. But the helmet is perfect.
I think it's so clean.
It's perfect.
I'm so excited to see it on the field.
They've got really one of the coolest logos, kind of, I guess, mascot backstories. Not that there's an origin story for the Viking himself, but just the fact that they are the Vikings.
Yep.
It lends them, like, the in-game experience that they do.
Oh, the snow coming
down, the skull, all of it is.
A lot of Scandinavian roots there in
right, which
the
is
Nordic. That's where a lot of the Vikings, landed.
I mean, they're awesome. And I love that the silver's incorporated. Look, I'm not surprised. When Kwesi became the general manager.
Big Kwesi fan. We love Kwesi.
Love Kwesi. When he became the general manager there, he, at the very first combine I saw him, had like a white quarter zip with like the logo on, and it was just so clean and good. And that's basically, he's taken that and he's made a uniform. And I love Winter Warrior it's great.
It's
phenomenal.
It encapsulates the Minnesota, personality. It's super cold up there. It gets sub-degree weather. You get that snow and everything like that. But I just love it. 10 out of 10 from Connor.
Yeah. Speaking of the Vikings, they obviously signed their star receiver Justin Jefferson to a huge contract, I think $140 million. Adam Schefter has reported that the 49ers actually went after Justin Jefferson this offseason. Kwesi, if you remember, his first foray into the National Football League was with the 49ers before he came here and is now the GM there. But they wanted to trade for Justin Jefferson, called the Vikings earlier this offseason. And my guess that would have been Brandon Ayuk plus something, a early pick for Jefferson, and they were immediately shut down. Indianapolis was the other team that there were. I guess there were 7 teams.
Great landing spots for J-Jet, but obviously keeping them with Vikings would be spectacular.
The Niners would have been
that. It would have been unfair.
Perfect.
Almost,
Yes. For him and for them.
For J-Jet and some draft picks, maybe a couple first round 2025. I'm not even sure. Do they have a 2025 first round?
Who, the Niners?
Yeah,
I think so.
But I think that would have been pretty decent.
So it was going to be Ayuk. My guess is Ayuk, and then obviously some. They would have had Purdy, McCaffrey, Justin Jefferson, Debo Samuel, Juwan Jennings, and Kittle. That would have been like Ayuk's good. Ayuk had 1,300 yards last year.
I wholeheartedly agree.
I'm almost surprised that the Vikings didn't even listen to that. Like if it was Ayuk and a first for Justin Jefferson,
maybe throw in a second.
You'd listen to that. I feel like you might listen.
Couple
to that.
fifths.
It never got close, but the Niners did call, and I think that speaks to they know that they've got an issue. And I wonder, I think people are assuming that Ayuk would have been in it. What if Debo was the one that was in it?
Ooh, I mean, he was having some contract issues last year.
And he's unfortunately, he's getting a little bit old and he's getting a little bit banged up. I still think Jefferson's catch against the Bills is one of the greatest catches I've ever seen in my life.
Definitely agree.
Yeah. So that's that coming out of Minnesota. Some scary news out of Kansas City today. The Chiefs canceled practice after a backup defensive lineman had a seizure in a special teams meeting, went into cardiac arrest. They got paramedics to him right away. The team doctors and physicians were able to get him to stable condition, was taken right to a local hospital, and the EMTs there did a great job, and so he's in stable condition, so that is good, but they canceled everything, all of their other team activities today. Chargers center Corey Linsley was released by the Chargers. He's expected to retire, and if he does, this is one where you can write this down because this will be good trivia to take, if you ever want to go impress your friends at the bar or something like that. He will finish his career with 1,572 straight pass blocking snaps without allowing a sack per Pro Football Focus. That's the longest streak in the NFL. His last sack was allowed in 2020. That's incredible. That's incredible. Mecole Hardman is re-signing with the Chiefs on a one-year deal. He caught the game-winning pass in the Super Bowl last year. Right, little flare out to the right to Mecole Hardman for a touchdown. Other wide receiver news: Sterling Shepard, who not that long ago, but also kind of that long ago, had a really good year in the NFL. I think he may have had a 1,000-yard season. I'm pulling it up right now. He was a second-round pick of the Giants back in 2016. So he never had a 1,000-yard season, but he started off 65 for 683 and 8 as a rookie, 59 for 731 and 2 the next year in only 11 games. So actually averaged almost 70 yards a game. He was on pace for 1,000 yards. His third year, he had 66 for 872 and 4, 57, 576 and 3, 66, 656 and 3. But the last few years, in 2021, played 7 games, 36 catches, 366 yards. 2022, he only played in 3 games, and he had 13 catches for 154 yards. And then last year, 15 games, 2 starts, 10 catches, career low, 57 yards. So he is not trending in a great direction, but he will be reunited with his former college quarterback, Baker Mayfield, there with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. With the move of Good Morning Football from New York to Los Angeles, Jason McCourty will not be returning to Good Morning Football. 2 potential replacements are Manti Te'o and Akbar. I know how to say
Bajamiamila.
Bajamiamila. I had that because I know there are many Bajamiamilas in the football world. Akbar, Manti Te'o. I think Manti Te'o would be great. Ever since I watched that thing, that special on him, I'm a big Manti Te'o fan. Yeah, my man got a raw deal. It was tough situation there. Tough situation. All right, here we go. You're saying I'm going to be at 22. I'm going to go for. Hopefully, I am going to be able to get all. Hopefully for 32, but I don't know if I'll be able to do that. How do you're gonna MC this?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
are you going to go? Just tell me, how are you going to? Are you going alphabetical or are you going by division?
Alphabetical. The list is alphabetical.
Alphabetical. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So hit me.
This is every NFL team's last 10-plus sack player per the 33rd team.
Okay.
First up, Arizona Cardinals.
Arizona Cardinals. Chandler Jones.
No. J.J. Watt in 2022.
What?
Yep. He had 10-plus. In Arizona.
Yeah, Chandler Jones had like 18, but it must have been 2021. Okay,
Yeah.
J.J. Watt. Yeah, I should have known that. Okay.
Atlanta.
Originally I thought 20 would be a really good number, and now I'm starting to really think 20 would have been a good number. Grady Jarrett.
Vic Beasley. 2016.
2016. So Jarrett's never done it.
If you want, I can give you the year that they last did it.
If once I miss 8, then we can do that.
Okay.
All
right. The Ravens.
Justin Matabike.
Correct. In 2023.
All right. So
the Bills.
Ooh. Was there? I'll every now and then I'll ask a question. Did anybody do it in? Was there anybody from 2023?
Yes.
All right. Greg Russo.
Leonard Floyd.
Yeah, I was hoping Von Miller. If you had said no to that,
Yeah.
that would have been really good.
Yeah.
All right.
Brian Burns. Oh,
Carolina. I can take that one. Brian Burns. I would have had.
my bad.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
I felt bad. I had to give you one
No,
there.
that's fine too. I wish you had given me one of the ones I wouldn't. have gotten.
My bad.
I would have
Jeez.
gotten
All right.
one. All right.
Chicago Bears. This one's difficult.
Does it go way back or no?
2021 is the year,
All right.
but the player I wouldn't associate him with playing for the Bears.
Robert Quinn.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Good pull.
All right, we got 3. We're 3-3 right now, so we got to really pick up the pace. Okay.
Cincy.
Trey Hendrickson.
Yep. 2023. Your own Cleveland Browns.
Miles Garrett.
Yes, sir. 2023.
All right, so we have 4 in a row.
Dallas Cowboys.
Micah Parsons.
2023. Yep. Denver Broncos.
6 now. The Denver Broncos. All right, I'll take a year on this one.
2018.
We'll say a rookie Bradley Chubb.
You said him earlier. Von Miller.
Ah, man, I should have had that. All right,
Detroit.
6-4. Detroit. Last year, right?
Correct.
Aiden Hutchinson.
Yep.
All right,
Green Bay.
7. Green Bay. Last year,
No.
22.
No.
No, back to 21.
No. 20.
20.
Yes. 2020. I can give you another hint, too, if you want.
Well, there's 2 guys. It's either Zadarius Smith or Preston Smith.
One of those guys is
Yeah.
the correct answer.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Zadarius.
Yep.
Because he's on Brown.
Yep.
All right.
Our
So
own
Kenny
Darius
Clark
Smith.
has never made it. All right, so we're at 8-4. We picked up the pace.
All right. There you go. Houston.
Ooh. I don't know if Will Anderson got that. I'm gonna say Jonathan Grenard.
Yeah, you got it. Last year.
Yeah. Grenard. Okay.
Indy.
It feels like it has to be DeForest Buckner.
Nope. In 2019, Justin Houston did it.
I should have asked the year. I wouldn't have gotten Justin Houston. Okay.
Jacksonville.
Josh Allen.
Yep. Last year.
Okay, that's 10.
Kansas City.
Chris Jones.
Yep. Last year.
Okay.
Las Vegas.
Max Crosby.
Yeah, he did it last year as well.
Okay.
The Chargers.
Khalil Mack.
Yep. In 2023 last year. The Rams.
Did anybody do it in 23?
No.
All right, Aaron Donald.
Yep. Aaron Donald back in 2021. Miami.
The 2 names that have come into my head are Jalen Phillips and Christian Wilkins, I guess, or Bradley Chubb. I'm going to go Christian Wilkins.
It was Chubb. Chubb did it last year.
All right, so I'm at 14, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wrong so far. Okay.
Minnesota.
Daniil Hunter.
Yep. Last year.
All right,
New England.
Matthew Judon.
Yes, in 2022.
Yeah, okay.
The Saints.
Cam Jordan.
Yep. 2021.
Wow, it's been a while for them. Okay.
The Giants.
I think, has it been a while?
It has not. It was recently last year.
Last year on the Giants. Thibodeau. Or
Yeah, Kevon
Okay.
Thibodeau. Yep.
All right.
He did it last year.
Okay.
The
All right, by the way, we're at 18-6. I'm on pace again.
Okay.
We're back on pace.
Yeah. Yeah, you are. We got 8 more here to go. The Jets.
Ooh.
This one's tough.
It was last year.
Correct.
And for whatever reason, I'm going to say it's not Quinnen Williams.
Bryce Huff.
I would not have gotten Bryce Huff. I'll be honest about that. I was going to say the kid that they drafted, I knew it wasn't Quinnen Williams, but I would say the kid they drafted the first rounder 2 years ago from like USC or something Johnson.
Okay.
Right, so I didn't get that one. Bryce Huff. Yeah, Bryce Huff. Good for Bryce Huff. Okay.
Philly.
Oh, man. It's got to be Hassan Reddick.
It is Hassan Reddick last year.
Okay. Well, the year before they had 4 guys in double digits, but he had the highest. That's why I said Reddick. Okay. All right. Pitt.
The Squealers.
TJ.
Yep, last year.
All right. So we're 20.
Niners.
Nick Bosa.
Yep, last year.
Okay. 21.
Seattle.
Last year?
No. You want the year?
Yeah. I'll take
2018.
This is just a name that popped into my head. It's out of nowhere. Cliff Averill.
No.
Bruce Irvin.
No.
No. Michael Bennett.
No.
No? All right, who is it?
Frank Clark.
Ugh.
He had a couple good years in Seattle before he
Kansas
moved
City.
on.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. All right, that's my 8th miss, so 24 is my max. You might hit this middle right on. I'm at 21 right now.
All right, we got 3 to go here. Tampa Bay.
Shaq Barrett.
Yep. Tennessee.
What year?
Last year.
Don't say anything. I have 2 names in my head. Harold Landry and Justin Simmons. It's one of those 2. I'm going to go Harold Landry.
It was neither.
No?
Nico Autry.
Oh, man, the defensive tackle, Danico Autry. How about it? All right, so I got one more, right?
Yep.
Washington.
Commies.
They traded away Montez Sweat. So my guess is this is going to be from 22.
Correct, 22.
So it's either Jonathan Allen or Daron Payne, and I'm trying to remember who had more sacks that year. We did them at the very end of the season. I want to say it's Daron Payne.
That is correct, Z.
All right. 23. Not bad.
Wow.
Not bad.
I was off by 1 there.
You were right. Yeah, you were right on.
Yeah.
But 20 was, I think 20 would have been a good one. 24 was it was right there. Those were I was in the range.
Yeah.
So I did not get J.J. Watt. I did not get Vic Beasley for Atlanta. Leonard Floyd for Buffalo. I would not have had. Von Miller I should have had for Denver. Justin Houston, Indy. That's way back. Bradley Chubb, Miami. Bryce Huff, the Jets. Frank Clark, Seattle. That's way back for them too. And then Danico Autry for Tennessee. Danico Autry, that's incredible. What an incredible season for him.
Well done.
We did. We got something. We did all right. I'm not no shame right there. Not hanging my head any kind of shame. All right, when we come back, Kelsey Russo, Brown staff writer, is going to be in studio. She's going to recap the OTAs. She's also going to stay with us and do a little higher or lower here, and then we'll hear from Joel Bitonio at the bottom of this hour. Cleveland Browns is brought to you by Ballybet, sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns, now live in Ohio. Welcome into hour number 2, Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Bally Bet, a sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns, now live in Ohio, as you can see. We've got some reinforcements here with Bo and Gibbe out today. Kelsey Russo, Browns staff writer, in studio once again. Good to see you. How you doing?
Good to see you too. I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Last time you were here, we did talk a little Taylor Swift, and I played the segment for my kids, and they loved it. They were all in. So that was good there. Are we getting Kelsey? We're good. Hit your underneath. Underneath, there's a little box.
Oh,
there we go. There we go. Yeah. So as you know, I am under Gibbe's yoke. And have you been in other radio studios? Have you?
I have not.
You have not.
This is my first.
So in a normal, we'll call it radio studio, your mic would be here, and then right next to your mic would be 3 buttons.
Okay.
And they would say on, off, and cough.
Oh.
So that, and when you're on, it would glow red. So you know, I'm
You're
on,
live.
hot mic.
Yeah.
Off obviously turns that off. And then cough is just you depress it, and while it's depressed, so you go, but you don't have to turn your mic off and on to do that. Gibbe thought that would make too much sense. So he decided, little P, that's why it's on the wall. Coach Stefanski asked about that yesterday. I don't know if we can pan that camera. I don't think it's worth it. But right over your left shoulder, there's a small P on the wall for when Gibbe is a small P producer. But so we have these boxes that are underneath that give no feedback as to whether it was on or off. It's just you press it. I don't know. Who knows?
Wouldn't even know it was there. I'm not going to lie.
See? Exactly. So I can count you now as a part of the on-off lights for CBD.
Yes, I'm in.
You're
I'm
in. All right, good.
Mm-hmm.
Next time Gibbe's here, we'll bring this up so he can hear that. All right, first of all, how are you doing? Turned out to be, you thought it was just going to be a little media day Wednesday, and turns out to be a huge, busy day. Articles, quotes,
yes,
the whole 9 with the extensions for Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski.
Yeah, it was quite the day, but it was a really cool day to kind of hear their side of it all and get to share their story and have those extensions come through and everything. And Nick Chubb talked for the first time since his injury, so that was also very exciting.
Yeah, we had that live on CBD.
Yeah, so very full day. But the extensions, I was glad to see that finally come through. I know it's obviously, back at owners' meetings was in the works. They talked about they were close to it. So knowing what both Andrew and Kevin have done for this organization, I think it's really great to see that finally be solidified and the stability be here for them and for the organization moving forward.
I love 24-10 at home was one of the stats that jumped out at me.
Yep.
Some of the other stats jump out in a way that's like when you're writing them, you're like, because it's really kind of saying, yes, this is good, but boy, we were really bad for a long time.
Yeah.
So the best sense this or the best sense that. You're like, okay, all right. Were there any of the stats or things you came across that stood out to you that you were pumped about, or you were like, okay, this is a good one?
Yeah, they have the highest winning percentage in a 4-year span since 1986 to 89, which again,
that's one
to
of those,
that same point.
Yeah, that's one of those double-edged sword stats.
But then seeing obviously the progress and what they've been able to do as a duo and everything, I think really stands out in that number. And I think also too, you think about 2 playoff appearances in 4 years at the same time, I think is another really good thing to look at. So those 2 things.
You need stability to have sustained success. And as I was talking to Kevin Stefanski about it yesterday, you kind of need sustained success to be able to get to have stability. And so it's a chicken and the egg thing. And unfortunately for the Browns, it all kind of came together at the same time. And so both of them, I thought it was cool. It was announced on the same day. They were brought in together in 2020, and now they get their extensions together in early 2024. OTAs are over.
Yes.
Finished today. That's it. What did you think of the OTAs this year?
I thought they were interesting. This is my first, time going through OTAs, seeing what it looks like, from, they're not, obviously, there's no contact, but they're still doing drills and everything. So it's interesting to see what they're able to do out on the field and how much they're able to do. And so, but I think the thing that really stood out to me was obviously being able to see Deshaun Watson throwing. We were able to see that last Thursday, and with his throwing schedule, they were rotating every other day, so giving him a chance to get some work in during those drills. The other times going through the mental reps of just still going through that the motion. And Ken Dorsey talked about how important that is. Like even if you're not taking the live reps, still getting the mental rep in of the drill, of the play, etc. So I mean, he looked really good when we got to see him last Thursday throw. You know, he threw kind of a mix of short passes, intermediate passes, a couple deep passes to, you know, guys like Elijah Moore and everything. So I think that was good to see that progress.
Yeah, of course.
DTR we got to see yesterday also
Which
throw.
was great.
It was awesome, yeah. Similar thing, you know, he's working back from that hip injury. And, you know, he didn't throw a ton yesterday, but it was great to see kind of intermittently throwing and getting back into that rhythm. And Kevin talked about yesterday that he's returned to throwing, so working through that process. The kickoff stuff.
I thought that was awesome.
That was
yesterday.
crazy.
Yeah, I enjoyed watching that yesterday.
Yeah, that was like cool, especially because we've talked about it with Bubba, and we've, you know, kind of tried to learn about it. Then seeing it on the field was interesting to see what it's going to look like as they figure this out. And it's still a trial and error process, as they've talked about. You know, it's still, they're figuring out the timing and the spacing.
Totally.
Yeah. But it was interesting to see like the guys like catch the ball on the return and then see everybody start running versus before, once the ball's kicked and everybody starts moving. So just the different nuance.
They got to like watch, make sure he catches it.
Yeah, and then if he doesn't catch it, what happens, and just like all of those elements. So it was cool to see it kind of play out, and it'll be interesting to see it develop as they go through when they obviously can start practicing with contact in training camp and all that. And Kevin talked about too, like once they have joint practices with the Vikings, being able to really practice it, I think will be a really good opportunity for them. So
yeah, because it's an exciting play and it's going to be a big change to this, and we've talked about it on the show. But there are going to be more kick return touchdowns this year than ever before.
Yeah,
because if they get through, they're gone, and I think you're going to see a lot more running backs being kick returners because it's a running play basically.
Yeah, and I mean that was interesting yesterday. Like Jerome Ford was taking reps, you know, catching the ball, like returning the ball and everything. And I kind of had that thought of like, this is more so like, yes, you can have some wide receivers who can do that. But yeah, to your point of like, it's very much more of a running play. So it gives guys another opportunity to get another touch in there, another opportunity to score. So I think it's going to be more interesting than I think people are expecting at the moment, because I think we just don't know what it looks like. Yeah.
Because I think games can change very much. If you are a team that can cover those and prevent big plays, and then a team that can make big plays, you're going to have an advantage because it is going to be. It was a throwaway play. It was boom it out of the end zone. Let's take it at 25. We'll see ya. That's not going to be the case anymore, and so I think that's going to be a very, very fascinating part of all of this. Speaking of those kickoff special teams, Mike Vrabel out there all the time during special teams. I mean, is anybody having more fun out there that isn't a player than Mike Vrabel?
No, he looks like he's having like the time of his life, which I'm here for. He looks like he's having so much fun. I think it's cool too for the guys to experience that as well. Like they seem like they're feeding off it just as much as he's feeding off of their energy. So it's a cool kind of dynamic to see.
It's awesome. And I think, you know, when you've been a head coach, you have to deal with so much that to get to just come in and be like, I don't have to worry about any of those extra things that come along with being a head coach. All I have to do is come coach ball and have fun out there. Yeah. And that's what he's getting to do for the team that he grew up watching. I mean, it's incredible. And I know he is having the time of his life, which is great. He's like the next guy, and the Joe Flacco had time of his life, but was actually playing. Now Vrabel's having time of his life coaching. So we're bringing in some guys with a little, you know, who've experience and success in this league around here.
Yes.
Mini camp is next week, and that's mandatory. And that will be the first time that we really kind of see this team with everybody. And I'm sure one of the big questions will be, will Deshaun do more in the mini camp? Will he actually throw in maybe 7-on-7s, things like that? Will be things that we keep an eye on there with the media there every single day. What are you looking forward to the most with mini camp?
That's honestly one of my big things, is to see the next step that he takes, because he had talked about how that was a goal of his, to be able to throw during mini camp and everything.
Yep.
So that, I think, obviously, to getting, you know, all the guys back at the building, Myles Garrett, Amari Cooper, Joel Bitonio, you know, these stars of this team that rightfully don't have to be here during OTAs, but being able to have the whole team here practicing as a team, I think is going to be a really good thing to see, especially too, you know, you have, obviously you're bringing in Ken Dorsey, you're building this new offense, and so it's a time to see what the entire offense looks like with all of your pieces.
Exactly.
And I think that's really important. And so I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see kind of the next steps as well of the defense. One of the things that Jim Schwartz talked about last week was, obviously they had, they led the league in so many categories last year, but there were also deficits that they saw, and particularly in red zone defense. And so it's been something that they've worked on, obviously, on the 7-on-7 drills. But I think, again, when you have the full defense here with your defensive line, being able to work on those things in minicamp is going to be really important for them as they move forward. So.
Yeah, as a defense that last year was dominant, but there's still things they can clean up, and if they do, I mean, look out! It's gonna be incredible. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm looking forward to seeing seeing Dustin Hopkins. We haven't gotten to see D Hop at all, so that'll be great to see him. It's a loaded roster. Juan Thornhill's a guy who last year obviously dealt with a calf injury for much of the season. He feels good now. I just welcomed in a child, so that's what he's been tending to, obviously, and rightfully so. But it's gonna be fun to see, I think, all of those people. And you mentioned kind of the offense, maybe seeing some of the things that are a little different. We got some glimpses, obviously, in minicamp, and I would say one of the things that jumped out to me was I don't remember how many snaps. I could look it up on Pro Football Focus Ultimate, but my guess is fewer than 10, maybe 0 might be the answer. How many times we played in 10 personnel, which is 4 receivers, and you're seeing that already. Like we're going to have some 4 receiver looks, which is fun.
Yeah, it's a change, and I think it's a good way to use your receiving core that has such a talented group in that mix, and having those options, and even the tight ends too. Like you have just guys that can play that position, and I think it's gonna be really cool to see in action. Yeah, it's gonna be a ton of fun. So mini camp comes your way next week. And then we already talked about it, yesterday with Coach, but it bears repeating. So next week minicamp's going to be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then next Thursday night for Coach Stefanski, that will be his big event, Night Out by the Lake at Lago East Bank. Tickets are sold out, but you can participate in the silent auctions. We went through some of the items yesterday. VIP game day experience. Get the Stefanski suite for the Browns and Packers August the 10th. Same thing. You can have a VIP experience at training camp here. Up close look at the team. Get to meet Coach Stefanski after practice. SummerSlam. You can have, again, the Stefanski suite. 14 guests for SummerSlam. That one, those tickets are insane. They are hard to get. Especially good tickets to that event. So that would be a way to do it. You can have the Stefanski suite again for the Billy Joel and Rod Stewart concert. Chef's table at Fahrenheit, dinner for 6 with Rocco Whalen. That's going to be amazing. So you've got all of those things. And then this one I thought was pretty cool. Big 3. And you could get any of these right now, by the way, at thekeepersfoundation.org. These silent auction items. The Big 3 signed jerseys from the Browns, Cavs, and Guardians. You know who they got for the Big 3? Nick Chubb is the Brown. Okay.
Guardians. Big 3, as big as it gets. Jose Ramirez, and then for the Cavs, Donovan Mitchell. Yeah. That is a pretty good trio of jerseys. Yeah. You can get take a look at that on thekeepersfoundation.org as Kevin Stefanski's Night Out by the Lake will kick off kind of his foundation. And they actually have an event going on tonight as well, which is Under the Lights with Coach Stefanski. I still think you can sign up. Tickets are still available at thekeepersfoundation.org. That's Under the Lights. It's the youth football camp, co-ed flag football tournament, 6 to 9, Cleveland Brown Stadium, grades 4 through 8. So you get to play on the field under the lights with Coach. Check that out. All right, when we come back, we're going to do a little higher or lower, better or worse, looking at the 8 teams most likely to go from worst to first in their divisions from Trevor Sikkema of PFF. Here's my spoiler alert for you. I only think there are 2 that it's even possible. Maybe 3. But I really only think 2 are possible. All right, it's coming up next. Cleveland Browns Daily brought to you by Ballybet. All right, welcome back into Cleveland Browns Daily. Nathan Zagura and Brown staff writer Kelsey Russo. Time now for a little higher or lower, better or worse, presented by Keep It Fun Ohio from the Ohio Lottery, offering easy ways to keep gambling fun. So there are 8 teams, obviously 8 divisions in the NFL, 8 teams that finished in last place last year. Of the 8, we're going to try to rank them from 1 to 8, most likely to go from worst to first in their division. So the candidates are, in the AFC, North Bengals, East Patriots, South Titans, West Chargers. In the NFC, North Bears, East Commies, South Carolina Panthers, West Arizona Cardinals. And so the question is, which would be most likely to go from worst to first in their division? And again, I really only think there are 2 that even have a chance to do it.
Yeah. This was hard. I took a lot of time to work
through
this.
All right. Did you list them? So you've written them out 1 through 8?
Yeah, I've written them out 1 through 8.
Okay. All right. You want to start with number 8?
Yeah, I'll start with number 8. Okay.
Okay. Who's your number 8?
Patriots.
Really? Okay.
I think
Patriots are number 8. Okay.
Yeah.
Jets, Bills, Dolphins.
Yeah, your division. The division is just really tough with the Bills and the Dolphins in that mix. So, and the Jets, obviously.
All right. So I put the Panthers 8 because I just think they're.
That's fair. I was going back and forth.
I don't think they're any good.
Yeah, I was going back and forth between that one. They're 7 for me. So.
All right. Okay. So and I have New England as 7.
Okay. Yeah.
So perfect. All right. So New England 7, and you have Carolina 7. All right. Number 6 for you.
Okay. I'm gonna say the Titans.
Okay.
Because I think the AFC South is always kind of a little bit of there's kind of just, you never know what's going to happen. I think there's kind of,
sure.
Some teams are going to win some games they probably shouldn't have won, or they're going to surprise people. But I don't know. I think their division is it's an interesting division. So, but they made some moves this offseason, but I don't know how much it was. So.
I mean, I think it's fair that they're probably 4th in their division. Houston's the media darling.
Exactly.
Jacksonville, is good, has been good.
Yeah.
Indy almost made the playoffs last year and won the division, and then you have Tennessee. I do believe in Houston very much. I don't know if it's the level that we're seeing kind of nationally.
Yeah.
So I think Tennessee. I don't think they're going to win their division, let me say. As I said at the beginning, I really don't think 2 of these teams have a chance. So I'm trying to see who is the least likely. I had the Cardinals at 6.
Okay.
Because they're just not beating the Niners.
Yes. Yeah.
And they're probably not beating the Rams and maybe the Seahawks. But Seahawks were in the playoffs 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I saw that one. So I had them 6.
That's fair.
All right. Number 5 for you.
All right. This is probably my hot take for the day.
Okay.
The Chargers.
Whoa. Okay.
So here's my thought, though. Because obviously, yes, you bring in Jim Harbaugh, who's taking over.
Yes.
He's had so much success as a head coach and everything. Pairing with Justin Herbert at quarterback. There is tons of success there to be had.
Yep.
However, you're in a division with the Chiefs, who have won their division for the past 8 years, since 2016.
Yes.
Back-to-back Super Bowl champions.
Yes.
I just don't see it.
That's
I just
fair.
don't see it happening.
That's fair. I think the Chargers are better than the Cardinals, and they're kind of in the same spot.
Yeah.
So and Harbaugh just wins. He does.
Yeah.
That's what he does win.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have them much higher than
Okay.
you do, much better than you do. So what was this, number 5 for you?
Yeah, that was
all right.
5.
My number 5 is the Commies.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Cowboys, Eagles, they're distant.
It's tough.
They're fighting the Giants for 3rd, in my opinion. Rookie quarterback. Yet, yeah, I don't see them being a threat.
Yeah. That's fair.
So I had them at 5. All right, you're number 4.
So I had the Commanders at 4.
Okay, the Commanders 4. I
Yeah.
had Tennessee at 4.
Okay.
Because that division feels open. Do I think they're going to win their division? No. Again, I'll say it. 2 teams I think realistically can win their division. And then I think 4 through 8, you could argue around why you move one here, there, whatever. That's
Right.
fine. To me, number 3 is definitely the Chargers, just because of Harbaugh and because they're probably the 2nd best team in their division.
Yes.
So
That's fair.
if it did end up, something happens catastrophically with Kansas City, then they win that division.
Yeah.
So that's why I had them 3rd.
Which is very fair. Yeah.
Who'd you have 3rd?
Okay. I then had the Cardinals at 3 because, but here's my thought.
Okay.
So you're not getting past the 49ers. There's no doubt about that.
Okay.
But I think you have a full season with a healthy Kyler Murray. You add Marvin Harrison Jr. to that mix. You give him a heck of a
Yeah.
good threat. I just think that they have a better shot to improve. However, I just don't see them still passing the 49ers, obviously. But I think they have a better shot at jumping that division.
All right, so here's we're going to do and then we'll get to the top 2 in a second. So Cardinals, this is just another kind of interesting way to do it. So in the AFC West, these are their win totals, projected win totals in the AFC West. Cardinals 6.5, Seattle 7.5, Rams 8.5, Niners 11.5.
Yeah.
So they're last there. In the AFC East, which I think is an interesting one because I think, were very smart with New England. New England's 4.5, which is the lowest in the NFL.
Wow.
They're 4.5. The Dolphins 9.5, Jets 9.5, Bills 10.5. So that's the biggest gap. So by that they could be one. Carolina is at 5.5 actually.
Okay.
Carolina 5.5, New Orleans 7.5, Tampa 7.5, and Atlanta, who's the favorite to win that division, 9.5.
Interesting. Okay.
And then let's look at the AFC West because that's what we were kind of focused in on.
Mm-hmm.
So AFC West, Kansas City 11.5, tied with the Niners for the best in the NFL. Denver's got to be way down. Denver's 5.5. Vegas is 6.5.
Mm-hmm.
Chargers 8.5. So they're a clear 2 there.
Right.
And that brings us to our top 2. So the top 2 that are left, I've got second Chicago.
That's what also I have.
Okay.
Yep. Because I think you bring in Caleb Williams, you rehaul that offense. He has DJ Moore, Keenan Allen. You have really good threats.
DeAndre Swift. Yeah.
DeAndre Swift, yeah. I think it's just going to look like a completely different team.
Totally agree. In that division, you have got Chicago 8.5, Green Bay 9.5, Detroit 10.5, Minnesota 6.5. So they're third in that division, but they're 2 games out of first, according to this. And then the final one is, I think it's obvious, it's the Bengals.
Yeah.
Bengals makes the most sense. So in our division, because everybody's got high ones, Bengals 10.5, Browns 8.5. Outrageous.
That's crazy.
Although to bet over on the Browns, you have to give up a lot of odds. The teams that people think are going to go over their total the most right now are the Steelers, the Patriots, the Chargers, the Browns, the Bears, and the Cardinals. So the rest of our division is Steelers 7.5, Baltimore 11.5. So they're tied with the Niners and the Chiefs. Bengals 10.5, Browns 8.5.
Wow.
8.5. Come on.
That feels low.
Feels low.
That feels very low.
All right. So there it was. So we had our top 2 were the same, which I think was ultimately
easy.
that was the easy part
Yeah.
right there. All right, Kelsey, thank you very much. What can people look forward to or for the coverage of minicamp, all that, clevelandbrowns.com?
Yeah, we'll have daily coverage of minicamp. There's stories up there now from the past couple of days of OTAs, an extension story, and a story coming up actually about the partnership of AB and Kevin. So you can keep a lookout for that. Yeah.
All right, here we go. All right, when we return, Joel Bitonio, the Pro Bowler, the All-Pro, the potentially future gold jacket from the podium. That's coming up next here at Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet. All right, welcome back to Cleveland Browns Daily. Time now to go back to the podium. Presented by Vivid Seats, official fan experience partner of the Cleveland Browns. And hear from Browns Pro Bowl, perennial Pro Bowl, and all-pro left guard Joel Bitonio.
How's your golf game?
You're done.
It's all right. I a little banged up at the end of the year, so it took me a few months before I could actually get out there. But I played a little bit, last couple months, trying to play as much as I can. But, it's a short season for us.
Joel, you talked a lot at the exit of last season about being unsatisfied with where your first season turned out because of health issues. How do you feel right now heading into this year? Do you feel rejuvenated?
Yeah, I feel really good right now. You don't play football for a few months, plus you get some, treatments and some stuff taken care of, and the body starts to feel a lot better. So right now I'm at a good space, physically, and I'm upping up my running and conditioning and been lifting and stuff. So I feel good right now, and we got a little bit of time before the season starts, so hopefully it just keeps improving.
How much have you kind of changed your approach as you progress through your career in terms of how you handle your body and everything during the off season?
Yeah, as a rookie, I thought if I took like 2 days off, I was like behind for the season, so I was just constantly like, oh, I'm back at it, I got to start training. And now there's a fine line between wearing myself out before the season starts and making sure I'm in shape to play, though. So it's definitely a difference. Having kids too, you got time to hang out with them and stuff, take trips with them. But no, I think I figured it out well, and I've been able to ramp myself up to really be at my best when the season's starting.
What do you know about your new offensive line coach?
He's good. I think I told a story, but he was he worked me out coming out of college at Nevada. He was with the Rams. He came out. We had lunch or dinner. We did some board work. So I had a small relationship with him. Then obviously I've known him across the league. He's been an assistant coach when Corbett was with him. So I talked to Corbett about him, and then obviously Poe's had him in Seattle. So it's good. He has a good energy. He brings some passion to the field. It's still. We're still working through an offense, and I haven't obviously been on the field with him yet, but so far it's been good when I've been in the meetings, and I've kind of picked his brain on some things.
Joe, what do you think about the NFLPA, whatever, proposal, whatever it is at this point, about getting rid of the offseason program and then starting whenever it would be?
Yeah, I don't know the exact details, but I do think there is some science behind like a better ramp-up period of, hey, as a young guy, I always thought, like, all right, I have to be in great shape April 4th when I show up for OTAs and off-season. And so you don't really have a long break to get back into shape there. But now if you push it back, you kind of have this, like, 4 or 5 month off-season where, hey, you can take a month off, you can start slowly working into it, and then get ready to go. And then once you show up at the end of June or early July, then you have a 3-week period of not really training camp practices, but like an off-season, program where they can kind of ramp it up. So I think body-wise and, guys actually being able to train in off-season, I think it's probably the smartest move. I don't know if people, schedule-wise and stuff are very used to certain things. So we'll see how that goes. But I think science, like in a ramp-up period and training in the off-season, all those things, seem like it's a smart move.
Joe, do you think before you retire you'll be playing 18 games schedule?
I hope not. No, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the details on that are, but I know next CBA, I would think they would get 18 games by the next CBA, but I will not be playing by then. So,
Joe, when they added it,
I mean, they have to collectively bargain it. So, I don't know the details of, those talks, or I don't think the off-season program's worth an extra game if that's what they're talking about, or things like that. I don't have a seat at the table in those discussions, but yeah, I would hope we would get more than a couple voluntary off-season programs switched,
Joe, when they added the 17th game, were you surprised they didn't add another bye week? Is that something you would have supported?
It's hard because, like, in the middle of the season, I'm like, oh, I could love it. Like last year I was beat up. I was like, I'd love an extra bye. But then you look at, like, a totality of the schedule, and you're like, I don't want to play till, mid-February, and I don't want to, all these extra things. But I think the more games you play, the more time you have to give guys off. And I think there's ways to work around it where maybe you have like a mini bye, not just after the Thursday game, but you play like a Sunday game, and you're not always going into that game 4 games. Like you have a little bye week there, so you get an extra few days off there, and that could be your second bye, and it probably adds a week still, but it's still at least taking care of the guys' bodies. I think those quick turnarounds are at least now that I'm getting older, is what's the hardest thing for me.
Joe, you've been through the coaching changes, you've been through coordinator changes, with Ken Dorsey coming in now and, working with Kevin to revamp this offense a little bit. Does anything change for you?
There's some different terminology and stuff. I think the identity of the offense is very similar, but I think there's new wrinkles and new, like I said, terminology. Like, once you've been in the league for 10 years now, you've ran pretty much every offense imaginable, and it's now just like putting those plays into the system. So there's some new code words that I'm like, wait, I think that was a different code word last year, or that was a different play call. So you just got to kind of wrap that stuff. But I think in the passing game, they've definitely evolved. I don't know the details of every route, but it seems like there's some new wrinkles and some new things that will, some motions, some just different things that might not, if you read a play off the playbook, sound different. But when you look at it, I think it's going to add a little bit more totality to the offense.
Go ahead, Tony. Okay, yeah, I'll do it. Joel, to go back to the off-season proposal thing, I know Shelby Harris was pretty vocal on his social media about not being a fan of it. I mean, is this just one of those things where there's going to be differing opinions amongst players?
Yeah.
Or what do you feel like the sentiment is right
I
now?
think there is different. I haven't really talked to too many people besides JC, who's I'm sure has his,
Yeah.
But I don't know if the guys really truly know what the new proposal is. So it's hard to be like, have a correct take right now, I would say. So we'll see. I mean, once we get a more concrete idea of what's happening, I think we can get a better understanding. I think it depends too with age. Like, if you're a young guy, like, you probably want 4 or 5 months off in a row, but some young guys might not want 4 or 5 months. They're like, I need to get back to work. If you have kids, I could see a different idea. So there's definitely going to be some differing opinions, but I think we trust what's, best for our bodies and preparing for a season.
Joe, for 4 years, part of the running game, it's constructed by Bill Callahan. Now that he's gone, and with the emphasis on kind of a spread offense, are you concerned about losing the identity of the running game?
No, I do appreciate Coach Callahan and what he did for us. I think he's a great O-line coach. But I have faith in Coach Dickerson, Roy, who we brought over from the Eagles. Coach Stefanski still, no matter, what, I think he still has roots in the run game. And it might be a little bit different, like you said, a little more spread and a little bit, different ways we attack it if we're finishing the game running the ball. But I think we're still going to have an identity, when you invest in the O-line and we want to live up to being one of the better units in the league. I think there's going to be times where there's still going to be like, hey, you got Nick Chubb back there, you got a good O-line, like, let's get a couple yards here.
Joel, what is the vibe or the feeling in the building that you guys have Deshaun Watson coming back healthy and ready to roll this season?
Yeah, it's been a good vibe. When I've been around the guys, everybody seems excited. He seems like he's in a good mindset. It's never been an issue about his work ethic and the way he puts in time in the classroom and stuff. So I think guys are excited. I think we saw flashes last year of the second half of Baltimore and other games. And you look at our win-loss record when he's our quarterback. They're all good signs. So I think it's all the momentum's good. You got some new weapons for him to throw the ball to. So. It's exciting time, and it's always about expectations. You got to live up to them, but we're happy to have them because that means we're there and hopefully ready to compete.
Hey, Joel, I remember when you were a wide-eyed rookie, and I know you haven't been on the field with him yet, but your impressions of Zinter and maybe what he can do for you guys right out of the gate.
Yeah, I've been in the meeting room a little bit. I've talked to him a little bit. Obviously, he has a pedigree of coming from a prestigious university and played in some big-time games there. He seems like he's just kind of being a good rookie, which is absorbing everything in the meeting room and not doing anything too crazy. So from those perspectives, I think it's been good, and he seems like he's willing to learn. Once I get out on the field with him, we'll be able to see a little bit more. But just from the makeup and the type of guy I've heard he is and what I've seen, I think it's someone you add to the room, and it's only going to be positive.
Joel, going through the rebuild years ago, the ladder of the goals kind of changed, right? And for the longest time, it was just get into the playoffs, right? Has for you guys as players coming off of that wild card game, had the expectations for what you feel you have the talent to achieve changed?
Yeah, I mean, I think you want to get a spot in the dance because if you have a chance, you have a chance to win. But I don't think we're satisfied with that. Like you said, I think early in my career it was like, hey, let's make the playoffs. And now it's like, we got to win some games in the playoffs. We got to make some things happen, especially, you get older in your career. You don't know how many years you have left of of playing, and now you feel like you're squandering opportunities when you lose those games. But the expectations, you always want to try and win your division to start, and then you kind of go from there. But yeah, losing in the first round or in the wild card is not how we want to end our season.
So there's a lot of examples of all-pro linemen playing well beyond 35. Do you feel your career ticking? Where you at?
I mean, I feel like I've definitely played more seasons than I have left, but really I'm truly taking it, 1 year, one game at a time. You never know, Joe played 11 years. I'm going to 11 years now. So it's a blessing every time I get to keep playing football. It's going to dictate a lot of how my body feels and stuff and how we are as a team as well. But right now I feel good and I'm ready for this year, and I'm, hopefully, like you said, I can bounce back physically and have a great year.
Joel, going back to the off-season proposal, I'm not sure how much specifics you know or are able to talk about, but the ramp up, are they kind of thinking along the lines of what you guys already do, but shifting where it is on the calendar?
I think so, and I think it's more of like 3 days on, 1 day off type of thing is what I heard. And so, yeah, you're going to be training, you're going to be running, you're going to be doing some position work, but I don't think it's going to be like a training camp practice. Like, it's still going to be like half days and things of that nature where you're just trying to get used to being in pads. I mean, not being in pads, but being on a football field and moving like a football player.
Joel, a wide receiver signed a contract today worth $35 million a year. Just wondering, what comes to mind when you hear that number, and can you believe that they're going through the roof like that?
Yeah, it's crazy. I think the NFL is as popular as ever, and you can tell with these contracts and the way the salary cap's moving up. But good, I always say good for them, man. I see these guards signing, $20 million contracts, and I'm like, I remember I signed my first, my second contract, and it was 10 a year, and that was like 3 guys did that, and now in my career they're up to 20, and so it's great for the guys. I mean, and the more other guys get paid than everybody else. Everybody should be cheering for guys to get paid because it brings it up for everybody. So it's pretty surreal though, looking back, like on what guys are making now, and receiver has truly flying up the market.
Joe,
All right, last one.
You talk about getting older and how your body feels coming off last year. For you now, how much of it is about like managing reps, right? I mean, you're not at OTA practices. Like, is it all about just kind of saving the best reps for when they're necessary?
Yeah, it's tough because I actually enjoy like practicing and being out there and trying to work on my craft, and I think that was part of it last year. Was it was a fine. Well, I couldn't last year with like the way my body was reacting, but it's like still working out, still getting the reps you can, but also taking the days when you need it to make sure you're ready for Sunday. And it's a fine line, but I think we're working through it, and I think we have a pretty good plan.
Thanks, Joel.
Sweet. Thanks, guys. Thanks.
All right, that's Joel Bitonio, and obviously, as you could tell, a lot of golf talk there. That interview took place Monday at the Cleveland Browns Foundation golf outing. When we come back, you know the drill. So much more to come here. Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet. All right, welcome back to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Bally Bet. Tomorrow, we will have Victory Friday, number 5. Taking a look at the Browns' win over the Arizona Cardinals. That was a game when Paul Keels joined me in the booth, the voice of the Ohio State Buckeyes. So Bo and I will take you through that. Gibbe's put together a great show for you, so that is tomorrow's program. And then next week when we come back, it'll be time, obviously, to get into mandatory minicamp. Players report on Monday, minicamp Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday as well. Before we go, I'm going to end the show the way that I started because, quite frankly, an exciting time. You see over my shoulder right there.
2 minutes.
That's right. My first ever wrestling graphic. I respond to members only for their heinous attack on me at Gauntlet for the Gold 17. AIW Shook One, Saturday, June 22nd, 2024, 7:30 p.m. at the Tadmore Shrine in Akron, Ohio. You see the website right there, AIWrestling.com. That's where you can get your tickets. And boy, I've got a response plan for them. Heinous, vicious, ribs, bruised, thrown into the barricade by these guys. They couldn't handle the fact that I eliminated one of them fair and square. They teamed up on me. They beat me up, quite frankly. But guess what? Turnabout's fair play. And I'm going to have an answer for them in Akron. Get ready, boys. Members only. What member club you're going to be a member of? Intense Pain coming your way. The next level is next here. Thanks for watching Cleveland Browns Daily right here on ESPN Cleveland.